Oh, I'm supposed to forgive you because you have an addiction. You can't help yourself. Oh, honey, I know how we can fix this. Let's have an open marriage. The logic. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm glad you left. Oh my gosh.
My ex wife cheated for years and tried to fix it with an open marriage. She said, "It's not you, I just need more." My ex wife cheated for years and tried to fix it with an open marriage. Hey, true story. My name is Russ. I'm 33, and I've got a story for you that I never imagined I'd have to write. I'm just a regular guy, born and raised in Michigan, work in IT, big fan of football, backyard barbecues, and I thought I was going to be one of those guys who did everything right and still had it all fall apart. Turns out I was. I found your channel about 2 months ago after a friend sent me a video that sounded way too familiar. Since then, I've probably binged over 100 of your uploads and finally decided I should share my story. Maybe it helps someone else out there who's being played like I was. This one's for all the guys who thought loyalty meant something. Let's rewind a bit. How we met, the perfect girlfriend phase. I met my now ex wife Emily when I was 28 and she was 27. I still remember the first time I saw her. We met at my friend Tyrell's birthday party. Rooftop bar, decent music, and drinks flowing. Emily was there with one of her girlfriends, and we kind of bumped into each other near the bar. I offered to buy her a drink, and to my surprise, she smiled and said, "Only if you're not one of those guys who thinks being nice means he's owed something." That should have been a red flag, right? But I took it as playful sarcasm. We talked for hours that night. She told me she worked in marketing, that she loved to travel, and that she'd just gotten out of a 2-year relationship with a guy who took her for granted. I should have asked more questions, but I didn't. Our first few months were amazing. She'd text me every morning with good energy. We'd go out on weekend adventures, try new restaurants, stay in and cook. I felt like I had found the one. We moved in together about 8 months in. That was probably too soon. I'll admit that now, but at the time, it just felt right. The early signs I ignored. About 6 months into our relationship, Emily started doing something weird that I chalked up to insecurity. She kept accusing me of cheating. I remember the first time. I was at work. She texted me, and I didn't respond for about 30 minutes because I was in a meeting. She replied, "You must be busy entertaining someone else." I laughed it off at the time, thinking, damn, she must really care about me if she's afraid to lose me. But it kept happening. If a woman commented on my IG, she'd make a snide remark. If I mentioned a female coworker, her energy would shift. Looking back, that was classic projection. But when you're in love, you excuse what you think are quirks. The wedding and the honeymoon incident. We dated for almost 2.5 years before I proposed. I was nervous, but in my heart, I believed this woman was going to be my partner for life. She cried when I proposed. I mean, full on tears. I took that as a sign that she was all in. Her friends even joked about how she'd been waiting for me to get it together. We got married in the spring. Small wedding, around 90 guests, and a honeymoon in the Dominican Republic. That's when things started falling apart. One night during the honeymoon, we were in the hotel room getting ready to go out to dinner. She left her phone on the bed while she was in the bathroom, and a message popped up from someone saved as work. It read, "I wish I was there with you instead." Instant pit in my stomach. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I calmly asked her about it when she came out. Her whole mood flipped instantly. She grabbed the phone off the bed and said, "Why are you going through my stuff?" I said, "I wasn't. I saw the message pop up." She refused to show me the conversation, said I was ruining the honeymoon, that I was paranoid and controlling. We argued for hours that night. I let it go because I didn't want to ruin our trip, but that one message haunted me for years. Married life and the growing distance. When we got back home, things returned to normal, but I put that in quotes for a reason. Something changed. I could feel it. There were nights she'd come home late from work meetings with that same colleague she said was just a friend. She started hiding her phone more, changed her password, would sleep with it under her pillow sometimes. We weren't intimate like before, and when we were, it felt like she was somewhere else in her head. I started blaming myself. Maybe I wasn't being attentive enough. Maybe I'd let myself go a bit. I went harder in the gym, tried planning more dates, even booked a second honeymoon to try to rekindle things, but nothing worked. The day I found out everything. About a year ago, I finally got the answers I needed. It wasn't even anything slick. She slipped up. She left her laptop open while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping, but a message came through on her Mac, syncing from her phone. It was from that same colleague. The message said, "Can't wait to sneak away again next weekend, same hotel." I felt like my heart dropped into my stomach. I clicked into the conversation and saw dozens of messages, pictures, hotel confirmations. Some of them dated all the way back to when we were dating, so she'd been cheating for years. She was with this man the entire time. I read enough to know it wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a full-blown relationship. The red flags were always there. Once the truth came out, I started playing all the moments back in my head. The weekend work retreats that didn't line up with her calendar. The constant deflection when I asked to meet her colleagues. Her sudden interest in lingerie and perfume she never wore for me. Her mood swings after late nights at the office. I felt like a complete fool. I was paying half the rent, taking care of our dog, grocery shopping, being the supportive husband, and she was giving herself to someone else, finding a lawyer and getting ready for war. I couldn't process it all on my own. So I called my older cousin Marcus. He's a lawyer in Chicago and one of the most grounded guys I know. I told him everything and he said, "You've got to get out clean. No fights. Just plan and execute." With his help, I found a local divorce attorney, got my paperwork together, and served her without warning. When she got the papers, she broke down crying. I thought she was going to try to deny everything. Instead, she said something I'll never forget. "I have a sex addiction. It's not you. I just need more." What? She said I was a good man, that I didn't do anything wrong in the bedroom, but she couldn't help herself. Then, brace yourself, she said we could fix it by having an open marriage. I laughed out loud. I told her she could have all the open she wanted by herself, kicking her out and finalizing the divorce. I asked her to move out of our apartment that night. I didn't raise my voice, didn't cuss. I was done. She cried and begged, but I was beyond emotion at that point. When you give someone your loyalty and they treat it like trash, there's no going back. During the court hearing, she barely said a word. I remember the judge asking if she had anything to say, and all she whispered was, "I don't want this divorce." Too late. Life after divorce and leveling up. The first few months after the divorce were rough, not gonna lie. I felt like I had wasted years of my life. I'd lay awake at night thinking about all the red flags I missed, all the signs I ignored. But then I got busy, real busy. I started hanging out more with my boys, guys I kind of fell off with during my marriage. Tyrell, Brian, Malcolm. We got back into our weekly basketball runs, started taking short weekend trips again. One night after drinks, Tyrell said something that stuck with me. "Russ, that woman didn't break you. She freed you." I hit the gym harder, started eating better, picked up side gigs in tech consulting, and even took up woodworking. No idea why, just needed something to do with my hands that didn't involve typing. Funny enough, it's become my therapy. Thoughts on her and her friends. One thing I want to say for other guys out there, always pay attention to the company she keeps. Emily had this group of girlfriends that always rubbed me the wrong way. One was married and constantly talking about how she flirts to get free drinks. Another was dating a married man and wore that like a badge of honor. I voiced concerns once, and Emily told me, I'm not my friends. Maybe not, but birds of a feather. Those same women probably covered for her, helped her hide stuff, cheered her on. None of them ever reached out to me during the split either, not even to fake concern. What I've learned, and what I'd tell young guys, if I could go back in time, I'd shake the old me and say, don't ignore red flags just because the sex is good. Projection is a massive sign of guilt, not love. If she's hiding her phone, she's hiding her life. Loyalty should be mutual, period. I had to learn the hard way that not every I love you means something. Some people just say it because they like how it sounds coming out of their mouth. But I'm not bitter, I'm better. I've built a new life, one rooted in truth, peace, and self-respect. Closing thoughts. I don't know what Emily's doing now. Last I checked, she still works at the same firm. Probably still seeing her colleague. Maybe not. I don't care. That chapter is over. What I do know is this. I'm not broken. I'm not damaged. I'm wiser now. And if sharing this helps even one dude out there dodge a bullet, then it was all worth it. Thanks for reading. True story. Feel free to share this however you want. Russell update. Dating after betrayal. No more serious relationships for me. Hey, true story. Russ here again. I know I already sent you my story about the betrayal, the divorce, and the lessons I learned, but I realized there was one big piece I left out. What happened after the dust settled. If you're planning to read my story on the channel, I'd appreciate it if you could add this follow-up. I think it completes the arc, and I want guys to understand that healing doesn't always mean finding someone new. Sometimes it just means finding yourself and learning to enjoy life without signing another emotional lease. So here's part 2 of my story. Dating again, but not how you think. After I finalized the divorce, like I said before, I spent the first few months working on myself. Gym, work, hobbies, hanging with my boys. I wasn't even thinking about dating. I was too angry, too raw, too tired. But once the fog started to lift, I realized something. I didn't miss being married. I missed being touched. I missed companionship. I missed the flirty texts, the laughs, the nights watching a movie with someone. But commitment? No thanks. Trust? That bridge was ashes. So I made a decision. I was going to date again, but strictly for recreation. No emotional entanglements. No false promises. Just mutual fun with women who wanted the same. How it all started, the soft launch. I dipped my toes in slowly, downloaded Bumble and Hinge. I didn't even use good pictures at first, just some selfies and a blurry gym pic. My profile bio was clear. Just got out of something serious, not looking for anything heavy. Let's keep it light and fun. You'd be surprised how many women actually respected that. Not all of them, of course. Some tried to fix me or thought I'd change my mind. But a good amount of them were on the same wave. Divorced, recently single, career-focused, emotionally unavailable. Whatever the reason, we were all passengers on the same boat. No destination, just floating and vibing. The first few experiences, awkward, then natural. I remember my first post-divorce date vividly. Her name was Marissa, a 31-year-old HR rep who said she wasn't built for marriage. We met at a rooftop bar, talked for 3 hours, and ended up back at my place. It felt strange at first, not because of guilt, but because I realized how easy it was. There was no pressure, no expectations, no pretending. We both knew what it was. We saw each other a couple more times and then mutually ghosted each other. No drama, no lingering questions, and that became the rhythm for the next few months. The no strings lifestyle. Let me be real with you, true story. I've always been a relationship guy. My early 20s were spent chasing the one. But after what I went through with Emily, my entire view on relationships changed. I didn't want another woman in my apartment full time. I didn't want to merge bank accounts, share pets, or co-sign on furniture. I didn't want someone calling me at 5 p.m. asking when I'd be home. I wanted peace. I wanted laughter. I wanted moments, not commitments. So I started rotating, respectfully. No lies, no manipulation. Every woman I saw knew the deal. Some were cool with it, some weren't. I didn't argue or convince. I just moved on if they wanted more than I was offering. There was Amanda, a personal trainer I met at the gym. She had two rules: don't catch feelings and don't blow up her phone. We got along great. She'd come over, we'd eat, talk about life, hook up, and she'd bounce. It was like we were friends who just happened to sleep together. Then there was Nicole, a recently divorced mom who just wanted to feel like a woman again. We'd link up twice a month, and every time she left, she'd say, "Thanks for reminding me I'm still desirable." No strings, no obligations. Just people being human. The backlash from some friends. Of course, not everyone understood this lifestyle shift. One of my closest friends, Brian, married with 2 kids, pulled me aside one night and said, "Man, aren't you tired of these surface level situations? Don't you want something real again?" I laughed and said, "Real almost ruined my life." Another time, a mutual friend of Emily's reached out and said, "I heard you're out here being a city boy now." She said it with judgment, like I was wrong for choosing myself. But here's the thing. When a man gets cheated on, people expect him to suffer in silence, then try again. When a man decides he's done with love altogether, suddenly he's the villain. I wasn't hurting anyone. I was just done betting my heart on people who didn't earn it. Rebuilding my circle and standards. One of the things I forgot to mention in my first email was how much I had isolated myself during the marriage. My friends' hobbies, solo routines, they all took a backseat to Emily. So during this new phase, I made it a priority to rebuild my circle. I reconnected with my cousin Sam, who had been through a brutal divorce himself. We started lifting together, fishing, even took a trip to Colorado just to clear our heads. I started going to a weekly men's group at my gym. Not therapy, but just a space where guys could talk about life, goals, stress, whatever. That group gave me perspective. One of the older guys, Terrence, said something that hit me hard. Every man has to know when to build and when to retreat. After betrayal, retreat is survival. And that's what I was doing. Surviving, resetting, modern dating observations. It's a jungle out here. I've been outside for over a year now, and let me tell you, modern dating is nothing like it used to be. It's casual, it's cold, and a lot of people are pretending to be fine with situationships while secretly hoping they'll turn into something more. I've had women say, "I'm not looking for anything either," and then 2 weeks later ask, "Where is this going?" I've had women tell me they're cool with the no strings thing, then post sad quotes about being used on Instagram the day after I stopped texting. That's why I always keep it honest, brutally honest. If you're expecting me to play husband, I'm not your guy. If you want fun, laughs, dinner, maybe a little more, I'm game. But the moment it feels uneven, I'm out. What I learned from casual dating. Here's the thing. Dating casually taught me more about myself than marriage ever did. I learned how to set boundaries. I learned how to read energy fast. I learned how to walk away without guilt. I learned that peace is more important than passion. Some people need deep emotional connection to feel alive. Me, I need stability. I need to wake up without wondering if the person next to me is lying to my face. That's why I'll never live with a woman again. Never get married again. I don't hate women. I'm just done building futures with people who might secretly be living double lives. Running into Emily again. This part might be the most ironic twist. About 3 months ago, I ran into Emily. It was at a mutual friend's birthday party. I didn't even know she'd be there. She looked different, a little older, a little tired. Still attractive, but the shine was gone. She came up to me, hugged me like old times, and said, "You look good, Russ." Happier. I nodded. Told her life's been good. She asked if I was seeing anyone, and I said, "Just enjoying myself." She smiled, that fake, pained smile people give when they're trying to mask regret. Then she said something wild. "I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to treat you." I said, "That's something you should tell your therapist." We didn't talk much after that. A message to men listening. To every guy out there listening to this on True Stories channel, let me say this. If you've been betrayed, lied to, discarded, you are not less of a man. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply waking up. And once you wake up, you have a choice. You can chase the fantasy again. Try to rebuild what someone else destroyed. Or you can choose peace, solitude, purpose, discipline, freedom. For me, love is no longer the goal. Peace is. And if you choose to date again, do it on your terms, not hers, not society's, yours. Final thoughts. I don't know where life's going to take me. I'm 33, single, financially solid, emotionally unavailable, and surprisingly at peace. People ask, don't you want kids? Maybe, maybe not. Don't you miss being in love? Not really. I miss the illusion of it, but not the pain that came after. These days, I enjoy waking up alone, cooking for one, watching the game without compromise, taking random weekend trips with no one to answer to. I'm not bitter, I'm better. And I hope this part of my story gives other men permission to let go of the pressure to heal and find someone new. Sometimes healing just means learning how to live without someone and being perfectly okay with that. Thanks again. True story. Appreciate everything you do for men like me.